Sometimes it can feel like success on YouTube is all about big, impressive, viral moments. Having a video hit 1 million views or reaching 100,000 subscribers in just 3 months. And maybe that is the case for a lucky few creators, but for the vast majority of us, success on YouTube is about slow and steady growth. And that success comes from implementing small habits on a daily basis, day in, day out. In particular, I've found 7 habits that I've incorporated into my YouTube content creation routine over the past year or so that have made a huge difference in the number of views that I get and the growth of my channel as a whole. These haven't led to anything crazy or viral, but it has led to a slow incremental increase in my views, and I think that's what sustainable YouTube success is all about. Welcome back to another coffee chat with Katie. For today's beverage of choice, I walked down the street to my local Starbucks to grab a pumpkin spice latte. That's right. They were released yesterday. Somehow I forgot about all the whipped cream. Why is this kind of embarrassing? Like, I feel embarrassed with this. Let me know in the comments if you're one of those people that is like so ready for the pumpkin spice, so ready for the leaves, for the scarves, for the campfires and such, or if you kind of like want summer to last as long as possible. I just love the flavor of this drink, but I do hope that summer continues, so I'm not ready for fall just yet. The first simple habit that has really changed the trajectory of my channel's growth is taking inspiration from creators in other niches. This one might be controversial, but I honestly think it's made the biggest difference. Controversial because I think a lot of people feel weird about like taking inspo from other people on YouTube because you really don't want to copy anybody, which is fair. We want to steer clear of copying, but that's why I love taking inspiration from people in other niches. So let me explain. I love to take a look at how other creators do their titles and thumbnails, how they structure their stories, the format of their videos, the style of their editing. But what I'm not taking inspiration on is the actual subject matter, like the actual substance of the content. So I really try not to watch a lot of other creators that give social media marketing tips and advice like I do. Instead, I take my inspiration from travel creators, from fashion creators. And so I'm able to get fresh ideas that maybe not a lot of other people in my own niche are using, which is why this strategy is so key. So just for example, let's say I came across a fashion video that was titled something like 10 style mistakes and how I fix them. I might take that same concept, but instead make it a video about 10 YouTube growth mistakes and how I fix them. Or maybe I come across a travel video that's like, I tried walking across an entire state. Maybe that gives me an idea to make a video that's like, I tried growing a YouTube channel to 1,000 subscribers. You can see how these videos have nothing to do with each other. It's just like the format of the title or the style of the thumbnail that might give you some ideas about a new, fresh way that you can approach your own content. Habit number 2 is writing my script outlines with a single viewer in mind. When you are writing your scripts or outlines for YouTube, I think it's so easy to end up making them pretty generic. A lot of us think about coming on YouTube as like, okay, we're getting on stage, we're talking to this audience of strangers that's never seen us before. And while that can kind of be the case, they don't necessarily know you. The hack for making your videos come across a lot more personable and a lot more relatable is approaching it like you're talking to somebody that you already know, like a single individual viewer. It's honestly the difference between starting your videos with, hey guys, and just, hey, like I'm talking to a single individual. Like you're not gonna get on FaceTime with your friend and they're not gonna say, hey guys, like they're talking to a group of people, and you want that same kind of FaceTime vibe in your YouTube videos. It also just helps you to make the content itself more relatable and more understandable to your target audience if you really think about it like you're explaining it to an individual person. Recently, I've been fortunate to get to know a few people in my real life that are kind of my target audience, like aspiring or beginner creators that are looking for tips and advice. And I found that so helpful when I'm writing my scripts to think about it like, okay, pretend I'm talking to so-and-so, and then I can write it like I'm sending them a long text message or whatever. And I think that really helps just give a more personal vibe to the videos. Habit number 3 is using more B-roll. In the past year, I've started using way more B-roll in my videos, which hopefully you've noticed. Basically, I've built up a huge B-roll library month after month. It's not like I set out one day to just film a ton of B-roll, but rather I've been slowly adding to it as I film specific B-roll clips for each new video. And then I just keep building up this library and I can draw on it again and again. I really recommend doing this because I think it makes editing your future videos just easier and easier each time. And it adds so much, makes them feel more professional and more engaging. Now, you don't need an extensive B-roll library of yourself to get started with using B-roll in your videos. In fact, that's exactly where the sponsor of today's video, Storyblocks, comes in handy. Storyblocks is an online stock media catalog with basically everything that you need to make your content more engaging. You can get stock footage, you can get sound effects, you can get background music, you can get animation templates. There is so much in Storyblocks. I myself have been a very happy paying customer of Storyblocks for about 5 years now, and I find it such an essential tool for my YouTube content creation process. Something that's great about Storyblocks compared to other options is that you just have one subscription and gets you unlimited access to as many assets as you need. Whereas a lot of other platforms, you pay per clip, which can really add up really quickly. With Storyblocks, you don't need to worry about it. You just pay your subscription and you get everything that you need. I've been using Storyblocks a lot recently for the transitions in these coffee chat videos, actually. I can get really cinematic B-roll of, say, an espresso shot being pulled or like stirring of an iced coffee. And these are things that I wouldn't necessarily be able to shoot on my own because I don't have a fancy espresso machine. And even if I could, it just makes my life way easier to be able to grab it from Storyblocks while I'm editing. If you want to start using more B-roll and visuals and other creative assets in your YouTube videos, then you can try out Storyblocks using the link in my description or go to storyblocks.com/Katie. I promise it will totally change your creative process. Habit number 4 is planning my thumbnails ahead of time. It's actually kind of crazy for me to think back to when I used to just sit down and film a video and then try to grab a random still after the fact and use that for a thumbnail. Not only were these definitely not flattering images of me, but they weren't the most effective at getting people to click and watch my videos. Whether good or bad, the reality of YouTube is even if you have an incredible video that's super engaging and super valuable, if you don't package it well in a good title and thumbnail, probably nobody will ever see it. So when I'm planning my YouTube videos, I kind of take inspiration, like I was saying before, from other creators on thumbnail ideas. I'll often search the title that I'm thinking of using and I'll look at the other results and try to think about how I can create a thumbnail that will stand out from what's already out there. Sometimes I'll even like pre-edit a sample thumbnail with an older image so I can kind of get a real sense of how it's gonna look. And other times I'll just like sketch something out. Like I'm not good at drawing at all, but I'll just make a really janky sketch so I have an idea of what I'm trying to shoot. There's actually a section in my personal YouTube script planning template that's specifically for planning out potential thumbnail ideas. Within this template, I also have prompts for like writing a really concise intro, an effective outro, and how to kind of space things out in between. If you want to use the same template for planning your YouTube videos, you can grab it on my website. I'll have it linked in the description. Habit number 6 is using consistent visual elements. This past year, I've tried to make it a habit to have my YouTube videos all feel like they're in the same family, you know, have the same vibe so that it starts to feel familiar and you associate certain visuals, fonts, transitions with me, just for the sake of brand consistency. You'll probably notice that I like to use a lot of vintage overlays like this film flicker texture or this light leaks transition I'll sometimes use. And then I even like to pair that with like an old school camera shutter sound in the background to introduce that transition. I like that vintage vibe just visually, but I feel like it also has connotations of like authenticity and kind of being a bit homemade. And I feel like that suits what we're doing here. Also, having this visual consistency just genuinely saves you time because you can use the same title cards and transitions over and over again and keep them as a little template inside your Premiere Pro project file or whatever, and then you don't have to build them from scratch every single time. Finally, habit number 7 is being ruthless with myself in editing. There's this old saying among writers and authors that goes, kill your darlings. And it sounds really harsh, but basically what it means is as a creative, you can get really attached to characters that you've written, a certain way that you've edited your YouTube videos, background music that you've used, whatever you've chosen. As a creative, you probably have some kind of emotional attachment to that choice. You feel really strongly about it, but oftentimes to make our work as effective as possible, we need to cut that out. We need to kill that character. We need to cut out that scene that we loved. We need to cut that chunk out of our YouTube video because it's maybe just not as effective as it could be, but because it's our own work, we feel that emotional attachment to it. We feel more sympathetic towards ourselves than our viewers will. And so that's why it's so important to be ruthless when you're editing and really try to watch your videos from the perspective of somebody who has never seen you before, who doesn't care about you, and who's probably a little bit impatient because most viewers online are. So you really need to watch your videos from that perspective when you're editing and cut out any parts that feel boring or feel like they're dragging on, even if you have that emotional attachment towards them, because other people won't. And that's the whole concept of kill your darlings. Like, they're your darlings. No one else is gonna care about them. So you kind of need to make your video as concise and to the point as possible and really try to watch it from that third party perspective so that you can make it as good as it can be. Basically, don't let yourself be boring. Like, we're always gonna be the most interested in ourselves. So try to think about it from an outside perspective so you can make your videos as engaging as possible. All of these habits have made a huge difference in my YouTube channel. I've been able to maintain slow and steady growth, and I've also seen a huge increase in my income as it relates to my AdSense earnings, my affiliate income, and my brand deals. And all of that is tied to the success of my YouTube channel, like the reach that my YouTube channel gets and how invested my viewers are. In fact, my brand deal revenue pretty much tripled from 2022 over to 2023. And we're not actually even done 2023 yet, but a lot of that is due to my process around negotiation and learning to set my rates correctly. So if you want to learn about how you can make more money off of brand deals and how to figure out what you should be charging for them in the first place, you should check out this video that I made where I go through my entire step-by-step process for figuring that out. So watch that video next. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you're having adventures and following your dreams and enjoying your pumpkin spice latte, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.